Okay, perfect. Okay, Jordan. So we're gonna start this interview, and I want to get straight into it. So go ahead and give us a little intro into yourself, into your background. Kind of let the audience know who exactly they're watching right now.
Yeah, my name's Jordan. I'm 19 years of age. A little bit of background, right? A year ago today, I was in a 9 to 5 job working at a hotel, 48 hours a week. I dropped out of college. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do college. Because something that the teachers said stood out to me. They were like, if you buy a course, you're never gonna get anywhere. And I was like, pardon? I was like, that's when college was like, okay, I'm gonna drop out of here and then just absolutely, do what I can essentially. So yeah, 19 years of age, was working a 9 to 5, and I stumbled across my good friend AJ right here. And he introduced me to high ticket sales. Um, but yeah, high ticket sales,
Yeah.
insane, incredible, bro.
Yeah. There's like a lot of models that like everybody like loves to talk about. Oh, you could make 10K a month with this, 10K a month with that. But no, I actually have a really good interview for you guys that are watching this. You guys are probably anywhere like starting to get into business, already making 50K a month, and then there's gonna be founders that watch this that are making like 100K a month. And there's a really good insight into Jordan for all three of those people that are watching this. So obviously we're gonna get into a little bit of Jordan's background, right? What he was doing before this, where he is today, his experience with Innovate, and then honestly the outlook for Jordan right now, because I know a lot of people can get some insights from Jordan because they're going through the same similar situations as Jordan. So no, definitely. And if you guys don't know me and you guys are new to my channel, my name is AJ, the founder of Innovate. Been able to pretty much generate a $5 million client portfolio in the span of 8 months with my first company, the concierge, transitioning into my other company that I'm working on right now. And no, let's get straight into it, Jordan. So I want to touch a little bit more on that background because some of these people are looking like, yo, what is this? I have no idea who this person is. So obviously, walk me through that again. So obviously, you were having like a 9 to 5 at first, but why did you get into business?
Why did I get into business? That's a great question. That is a very good question because, a lot of people do come into business purely for the main goal to make money, right? Everyone comes into business because they make money. They don't want to be, in that 9 to 5 kind of rat race stereotype, right? But for me personally, I came into business because one, I know how good my work rate is, and it's like if I'm putting all my work rate into a 9 to 5, I'm still gonna get that same amount of paycheck every single month, right? That's number one. Number two, it's the freedom, right? It's the freedom. I get to work where I want, I get to work when I want. And what I make a month really reflects on, how much work I put in. Whereas, at 9 to 5, you could louse around, not do a lot, and you're still gonna get paid that same amount. Or you could put all your effort into it and do everything you possibly can, and guess what, you're still going to get the same as that bum that is not really putting any effort in. So for me, it's really, the freedom, and I love proving to myself what I can do. So yeah, that's the two main things that I really came into business for.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. When Jordan first joined up, and this was at the very beginning of my company, he definitely had
It was the trenches, brother.
I will talk about for sure. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people they get into business, obviously money, making freedom, and I also want to talk about what did you try? Because a lot of people they try a lot of things, right? Or e-commerce, drop shipping, growth partners, right? They want to start an agency, SMMA. I want to know exactly everything that you also tried before you even ran into me, and then I'm going to talk about pretty much how you ran into me in Audi as well. But what did you try in the past?
Yeah, brother. Oh, so ever since I was like 15, I'm 19 right now. Ever since I was 15, I tried everything under the sun. Every single thing that you could think of, right? My first thing being reselling shoes, right? Started reselling shoes, made a little bit of cash here and there. Went on to Amazon FBA, realized that I couldn't do that till I was 18, and I was like, okay, I
You
can't
tried
really do
Amazon
it.
FBA.
I did try. I bought a course for Amazon FBA. I tried that. Didn't really work out, of course. And then drop shipping. Drop shipping was the big thing for me. I was like, okay, you know what, drop shipping, I see potential here. You know, it's like creating your own brand, marketing it. You know, I'm a very creative person. So drop shipping for me was like, okay, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be it. Now obviously within drop shipping, you need cash flow. Right. And that's that's my age. I know you want to come in and speak about this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so I talk about this a lot, and I don't throw shade at models. I just like I want people to tell the truth about models. If you're gonna talk about something, I just at least just be honest about it. A lot of the stuff that's going around nowadays is just there's no honesty or integrity on pretty much what they're talking about. So yeah, I mean, you can say, oh, Amazon FBA, drop shipping, and all these other models, right? But there's caveats to them, right? There's obstacles you're gonna run into with every single model. And I want you to also talk about the obstacles with the one that you saw the most success with, was high ticket sales, right? With what I was helping you get into. But before we go into that, like, yeah, drop shipping, Amazon FBA, all these models, they require upfront cash flow. And that's what a lot of people don't realize is there's a lot of skill sets that come into play. There's a lot of other variables that these models do work, but are reliant on, right? Compared to a lot of the other ones that I talk about, especially with you, with high ticket sales. And I don't even like calling it high ticket sales sometimes. Um, but like entrepreneurship, being able to develop a skill set and make money with whatever you have, because that's where I started, and that's where you started as well, where you saw your first success. But yeah, no, I hate it when people say like, "Oh, 10K a month, oh this, you can
Yeah.
easy in your first 30 days," and it's just like you're just over promising some just dream. I hate that, but let me let me ask you this. Obviously, you were going into drop shipping, but what were the challenges besides like, you know, obviously the cash flow up front? What are the challenges you were facing in that model and why you wanted to transition into like entrepreneurship and like being a closer? Because that's what people pretty much hear out.
No, most definitely. I mean, I think with the online space today, especially today with so much information going around, it's
Yeah.
almost like an information overload, right? So many different mentors and so many different courses and so many different YouTube videos are telling you a million
Yeah.
different things. So for me personally, the biggest obstacle aside from cash flow would be, the misinformation, because one mentor would tell me one thing
Yeah.
and then another person would tell me another thing. And obviously they all work, right? They all do work. It just what worked for that person in particular, right? Um, so for me, like I was obviously lacking cash flow when I got into drop shipping, but it was also me trying a million different strategies at once, listening to, five, six different mentors all at once. And it was like it all crashed essentially because, I was trying all these different things and I never really stuck to one strategy essentially. But no, that was definitely my main obstacle there.
Okay. Yeah, because like I mean, I've dabbled into it as well. Because like I mean, I've tried a lot of things before, but essentially, you have to be really creative, find products. Where I do a lot of bunch of market research, which people are good at, and I have a lot of friends that make a lot of money with e-commerce brands. It's just like people don't get that beforehand when they're like starting out, or even people that are making like 10K a month, 50K a month. It's hard to reach a certain threshold where you can make like 100K a month in the model with all the margins that you're going through, it's tough. And so, and I want to ask you this as well. What's the most money you ever made before meeting me with e-commerce? And then on top of that, how long did it take you to make that money?
So obviously I was doing drop shipping for a little minute before I saw Age. I think the most amount that I saw in ecom was only around about 3,500 a month, and that was in revenue, right? So maybe just under 1,000 profit. So, it was slow and steady, but it was nothing that I could
Yeah.
really leave my job with. So, it wasn't great. It wasn't great, but yeah, around about, 3,000 a month.
Okay. Okay. And then you're profiting like 1,000, you said?
maybe just under 1,000. I don't even think it was around about 1,000 because the margins were so slim. I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Sales
You
were
didn't know
coming in,
anything else.
obviously, overheads, expenses, marketing expenses, etc. So it was like, yeah, the dashboard says 3,000 this month, but how much profit did you make?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then how long did it take you to get to that point of making $1,000? Because one thing to be like, all right, yeah, like I'm making $1,000 in a day, or like oh 3,000. Oh, my dashboard says $3,000 today, and I profited $1,000. How long did
Yeah.
it actually take you to get to the point where you're making that?
Well, from like initially starting drop shipping.
Yes, I want to know like the start when you were
Hmm.
peaked in your interest and you actually took action to apply yourself to it, and then the
Uh-huh.
bank account.
Yeah, I mean, to get to that point, it was like, 3 or 4 months of just pure sitting in your room, building stores, failing. Because at first, I remember looking at my first store, right? And I was like,
Yeah,
my God, I look back to it now and I'm like, yo, this was never gonna work. So, it does take time to build up these skills, store creation, marketing, even finding the right product. So yeah, a good 3 or 4 months of pure, sitting in my bedroom and getting to that point
yeah, for $1,000.
for 1,000 bucks,
Probably
brother.
making more at your job than the dropship.
Bro, I was 100% making more at my job. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and this is what people don't say on the internet. Like the trials
Oh
and
no, 100%.
yeah, so I mean, 4 months is a lot of time. That's 120 days. That's past a quarter to be spending focused 18 hours a day on just one thing to only get like a return of $1,000. Okay.
Exactly. It's like
Um,
$250 a month, essentially, if you really, break it down, think about it.
yeah,
And that wasn't even really profit for real because if you think about the expenses before in previous stores to even
yeah.
get to that point. So it's like obviously there were stores that failed before. So I was still negative, but on that store, $1,000, but not overall.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously there's success in the model once you find it work because you're doing good now. Which this is one thing I want to touch on later. You just came off a 30K month in e-commerce, didn't you?
Yeah, I did indeed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna touch into that at the end of this, but let me go back into what sparked that and how you actually found your first success and what everyone's here to actually learn, which was closing. Okay. And if you guys don't know what closing is, I have videos on my channel. Go look at it. Go learn if you don't know what I'm talking about to get some context. But when it came to closing, right? And before this, how did you meet me and Audie, by the way? 'Cause this
Oh,
I
this
want
is
everyone to hear your story because this is actually crazy on how you found us.
Yeah, so there was a dropshipping mentor that I just bought a course from, right? And that's essentially what I was studying for the last 4 months. Okay, so I was studying this dropshipping, and
Yeah,
then the person that closed me, Addy, so
business.
he closed me previously to this course, and he calls me up. He goes, "Yo, how's ecom going, brother?" I'm like, yo, I'm lacking, bro. Like I need more money. This takes a lot, to even get into. And he's like, so you need cash flow. I was like, yeah, I do need cash flow. And at this point, I'm about to go out with my friends. I've lost focus. It's 4 months in. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like I was on the brink of giving up. I'll be so honest with you. I was like, you know what, online money's not gonna work for me.
Yeah.
Um, and he called me this one night and he was like, if you want to make money online, I've got a business model, high ticket sales. And I was like, okay. I was like, what do you do then? And he was like, you just hop on calls, onboard people to a mentorship, and you take a commission. I was like, how much? He said, however much it was. I sent it on the spot. I sent it on the spot. I was like, do you know what? I'll do it.
Yeah, I remember that we were in Miami meeting one of our clients, Vince. I remember that phone call actually. We were in the Pen, 40th floor. He called you up, closed you right on the spot. Wait, so for that e-commerce mentor, did you get closed by Audi? Like you paid money to that mentor,
Yeah.
and then
Oh, the
you also paid us, right?
yeah, exactly.
How much did he close you for?
I think it was $1,000.
Okay. Yeah, and then you later found out like Audi got paid to take that call, right? You made $100 off. No. Well,
200.
he was getting two, yeah, he was getting 20%. So he made $200 for that call. What is it, like 30 minutes?
Yeah, 30 minutes, $200 he paid, and I was like, yo, there's no way.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, for one of the clients, he basically reached out to you because you needed cash flow. So even that you paid that mentor $1,000, you didn't even have the cash flow to make the model work, right?
Exactly.
Like, this is one thing I hate is when people sell people that just like don't need that information or that product or that service, knowing they're selling them just for the commission, right? Audie reached back out to you, my business partner, and he pretty much lets you know, look, I remember our call with you. You needed some cash flow, and we talked you into pretty much hopping into what me and Audie did because we needed more talent, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
you got him at the beginning stages. And he like
OG stages, brother.
yeah, and that's one thing that me and Audie pride our company on is like we genuinely want to help out everyone that deserves the right help because like I've been scammed, Audie's been scammed for multiple five figures, so we know what that feeling is like. And for you to reach out for us, or I guess for our client for help, knowing that we could help you out with another model and another avenue to make money, we couldn't just let you sit by, and just waste all of your money in e-commerce. Who knows where you would have been, right?
Who knows?
Okay, so when you joined us, you wanted to get into a closing role, and we instantly hopped pretty much put you into an opportunity to make money. You went through all of our stuff, probably maybe took like a day, 2 days, maybe.
Yeah, so this was crazy actually because Addy was like to me, he was like, "Yo, you could make $200 in an hour phone call." I was like, "Do you know what?" And at the time, I was broke. I was still broke. I spent my
Yeah,
last money to get into Innovative in the first place. All of my money was gone. I was in a job, and that day that I joined, I quit my job. And I just grinded through the whole thing. So I had no idea that I was gonna make any money. I had no idea. I was just like, do you know
yeah,
what? I trust these guys. And yeah, the first day, bro. First day, it was all smashed out of the park.
yeah. And I wanna touch on that because I don't know if you realize how insane that is. I'm gonna let you know how insane that is. Obviously you went through the training, like the course or whatever, the program information, right? And you learned it all in a day's time. And then we instantly placed you on an offer to make money to close for someone the very next day after you learned, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So you got special treatment. I'm not you got personally trained by me, hopping on one-on-one calls with me. So that's probably why you had such fast growth. But your turnover time to make your
Mhm.
first ever, like first dollar was 48-hour turnover time.
Correct. Correct.
I want everyone that's listening or watching this right now to realize, okay, obviously, yeah, he had a connection through me and I instantly placed him on an offer, but 4 months that you spent
Mhm.
in e-commerce, in dropshipping, it took you 120 days to make your first $1,000. And I don't know when you made your first $1,000. It was definitely that week for sure.
It was the same week. It was the
It
same week.
was the same week. Um, but to go from a model that does work, by the way, I'm not hating on dropshipping. I have friends that do it. To go from 120 days to making the exact same amount of money, closing people, taking phone calls, having a simple conversation like we're having right now with an evergreen skill set, sales, taking a commission for already pretty much convincing people to buy stuff that already want the damn thing.
Mhm.
Did it in a week compared to 120 days. I don't know if you know how crazy that is, but that's like a 1,000x output or whatever compared to
Yeah.
okay. And then also for the business owners that are watching this, Jordan, how much do you generate? I think it was for your first month, didn't you generate $100,000 for that client that we were working with?
Yeah, it was over 120,000, brother. That first
120,000
month.
that
Yeah, it
first.
was crazy.
And was that the first time you've ever seen that amount of money in any model that you've ever tried?
Bro, that's the first time I've seen that money in my life. Ever. Ever.
Okay. Yeah. So the transition was instantly 48 hours, right? But for the CEOs and founders that are watching this, and this also for you, Jordan, to be able to
Mhm.
generate another company a CEO, a founder, $120,000 cash, not revenue, that goes into his bank account.
Yeah.
Into he gets the and that's profit, and then he pays you out the commissions, obviously.
Hmm.
That right there is invaluable. Invaluable. You now have a skill set that all founders, every single CEO that runs a service offer out there, they would pay top dollar to have a person like you in their company that knows what they're doing, that knows how to convince people, persuade people, really, really good at sales, reliable. You alone is invaluable. Like the Alex Hormozy, I don't know his hiring process. It's obviously insane, but people at that particular level need entrepreneurs like yourself. Like you were needed for our client, right?
Yeah.
Walk me through that as well. Like obviously you went on to scale and do a lot more for our clients. But how was your experience in that first month? And you did like 10K your first month with us?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 10K for myself first month. So yeah, it was crazy. I went from
Walk me through that
absolutely.
experience that you went through from going from a model where it took you 120 days to make $1,000 and then transitioning over to a model where it took you 30 days to make $10,000. Walk me through that experience for you.
I mean, for me personally, it was 48 hours, right? And I'd made my first buck. So it was like for me, my head was already blown at that point because within ecom, although I did 1,000 in that first 4 months, it was the last month that I even made that money, right? So to go from, that amount of time to actually making my first bug in 48 hours, it was mind blowing. And for as a person, that was really, really hungry to even get into, the online money space as a whole, um, it fueled me up. It fueled me up. I know there was a couple other guys that are now going off doing great things that we were in it together. And we would be on calls, 18 hours a day. In fact, one of the other closers had his calendar on for 24 hours straight, right? He did not have a break. So he would sleep in between calls
Yeah,
because he'd never seen that type of money either, right? And we were
yeah,
all on that kind of same frequency, that same wavelength of, as many calls as we get in, we're gonna make more money. So for us personally, it was like,
yeah,
okay, we're gonna do this all day, every day, because at the end of the day, we're just making money just on autopilot. It's crazy because we were already very sociable people. We could already speak to people. We just needed that training from you guys yourself to actually learn how to convince people to actually buy this thing. So yeah, for me personally, that experience it was life changing. Really, I'd made more money than my parents had make in a month together combined. So it was like I went from $700 a month to 10,000 a month in literally 48 hours, essentially.
yeah. And I don't want to like sugarcoat that at all because like that's a really big achievement for you were 18 at the time, by the way. You weren't 19, you were 18.
Yeah, I was 18.
Just left a 9 to 5 without any given plan. You took that skill set, applied it to a company, generated them multiple six figures, and then took the commission, made $10,000 more than your parents combined at the age of 18. That's not just something to like brush off the shoulder. That's a really big accomplishment for someone. And like a lot of people will see, oh, 10K a month, but like it was real. It went into your bank account. That it's like
Yeah,
real life testimonial results, proof that like skill
yeah.
sets, and this is what I talk about a lot. It's like it's really not just the model. It's always going to come down to the skill set of the entrepreneur. Really, it's not the model that makes you the most money.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because a lot of people come into the online space, there's a lot of, at the end of the day, there's a lot of flashy stuff online, right? There's a lot of people flexing Shopify dashboards,
Yeah.
flexing rented Lambos, etc. And they're like, you could go out and make 10K a month. And it's possible. It is 100% possible, but it really does come down to the skill set and how good you are at your craft. As you were saying, yeah.
Yeah. And then also at your age of 18, being able to work in a company that me and Audie ended up taking to $500,000 just by the end of that year, just like in 4 months. Being able
Mhm.
to see a company making $500,000 and you're the one behind you saw how money was generated, how sales actually works, transactions actually work. You understood business, you got insights into a company, you got more than just the money, right? You got connections, right? You understood business at a higher level. You understood all these things, which, and what I'm going to get into now, it transitioned over back to your first model that you tried,
It did.
right?
It did.
So, let me touch upon that. But before I go into that, experience with Innovate, how streamlined was it? How seamless was it? Right? You just learned a skill set in 48 hours, you turned over and made 10K in your first month.
At the end of the day, there's no better company. It's literally written on paper, right? 0 to 10K first month, first buck made in 40 hours. I don't know what else I can tell you. Realistically, they've come in, they've trained me, they've directly placed me onto an offer, and I'm making my first 10,000 a month, more than people that have years and years of qualifications that are working in these big corporate companies, more than they're making, and I'm just an 18-year-old kid at my computer in my bedroom. So, for the experience with Innovative, it couldn't have been better. Realistically, it couldn't have been better. They were there throughout the whole entire process. Any questions I had, even about sales, because obviously I was always wanting to improve, right? They would hop on calls with us, AJ and Addy. They would thoroughly really train us, give us example videos of closing, and not just that, the connections as well. The network. My network now is incredible, purely because these guys have put me on offers with these companies, and now, because obviously we did a good job for them, I'm a valuable person, and that has really built my network up in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And then there's like the people that are watching this as well. Some people just want to work remotely like you were, being able to make $10,000 from the comfort of your desk that you are currently sitting at, right?
This is the same desk.
Same desk. There's people that don't make that kind of money for decades, right? And you're able to do that in a month, which is insane. What was your day-to-day like compared to like everyone else? What were you doing on a daily basis throughout that whole month to make that money?
So it really depended on, my calendar for the day, right?
Yeah.
My calendar was always open, 18 hours a day. I would probably sleep 6 hours. So it was always open. But for my day to day, if I didn't have a call until midday, I would get up, I would go to the gym when I wanted to. I'd go get food if I wanted to. Within the first 3 weeks, I was flying to Canada, right? So I went from working a 9 to 5, having to ask for the holiday, to flying to Canada within 3 weeks to actually meet another entrepreneur with inside Innovative. So it was crazy, the freedom. It's insane.
Would you say that, like, obviously from the beginning in this interview, you said one of the biggest things for you was it was that freedom aspect. Would you say with being a closer and an entrepreneur in high ticket sales, would you say that you got access to that freedom doing what you were doing?
Having to wake up and not clock into work the next day was such a
Yeah.
weird feeling for me, because that is all I'd ever really dreamt of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely got that freedom that I was looking for, because at the end of the day, I wasn't like this, but if I didn't want to work the next day, I didn't have to work. I would just turn my calendar off. There would be no book calls. I didn't have to at the end of the day. So it came down to, like, damn, like, I could really work whenever, wherever, and I've actually got this freedom now. It was a crazy experience. Definitely something I dreamt of, 100%.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So obviously that's just to recap everybody, that's a lot. Obviously, going from complete zero skill set. You were just freeballing dropshipping. You probably had like close to zero experience as like an entrepreneur.
Nothing.
And in 48 hours, you get a tangible skill set from Innovate sales. Which is what I preach. It's not the model. It's always a skill set you can take forever. That even billionaires will say, to recreate my wealth, I would hop back into sales. That's why I preach being able to generate money with what you already have, because that's where you started, and that's where I started. You started with nothing. You started with
Hmm.
right? And then in that first 30 days, you hit a run rate of $120,000 a year. You're making 10K a month. That's usually everybody's dream. Oh, I want to make 10K a month. Okay, on a run rate of $120,000 a year. That's what you want to make. And you did that in your first 30 days. Right.
Hmm.
You got access to the freedom. You met other entrepreneurs. You're flying to Canada from the UK. UK time
Yeah.
zone. Well, it's rough, by the way. You're a trooper for that. And then I want to talk about today, and I want to actually keep this truthful as well, is because you're also doing e-commerce on top of leveraging this skill. So, Jordan, you now have a skill set to forever make 10K a month. You can come back to me, I can place you with a company, and you can pretty much forever make $120,000 a year. Correct.
100%.
Okay. But
100%.
you're a serial entrepreneur, and I like that. So, and you're smart. And this is why I preach this to everybody that I meet. It doesn't really matter what model you want to do, whether it's a clothing brand. Let's say you want to get into day trading because it's your passion. It's bullshit to lie. Don't do that really. You just want money. You're also doing what you set out to do in the first place, which is drop shipping, right?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I
Okay.
mean,
And
yeah.
I want to talk about that as well, because walk me through where you're at right now in your drop shipping journey, how sales helped you in your e-commerce journey today, the people that you've met, the partner you currently have right now, and how much you guys did last month. Like I want to hear the whole spiel because I actually haven't caught up with you in a while.
Yeah, so obviously with Innovative, they partner up with companies that,
Innovate.
sell an info product, right? Innovative, my fault, I apologize. They partner with companies that sell an info product. So one of the companies that they partnered up with actually reached out to me personally. And he's an ecom demon, right?
Yeah.
He did a million a month last quarter four. He actually reached out to me personally because he saw that I was doing e-commerce. He knows I had experience within sales, and essentially I am now working, with one of the biggest e-com guys in the world. I would say 100%. I don't really see people do numbers that this man does. So yeah,
You
currently,
know how hard it is to get to a point where you're doing $12 million a year in e-commerce nowadays. Do you know how competitive drop?
yeah,
And you got that
yeah.
connection through how again? Just for everyone.
Um, through you guys, you guys were selling his info product.
Yeah, where?
We were closers essentially.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how I got that connection. So I'm now working alongside one of the best in the world, which is, to think a year ago today I was working a 9 to 5 to working with someone that does $12 million a year, is insane. It's incredible.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, and then walk me through because obviously you're partnered up with him now, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I work with him every single
So,
day.
and that's crazy. You went from a closer a couple months in, right? You're obviously still making like 10K a month, right? And then you partner up with one of our clients because you're doing the other model, right? E-commerce.
Mm.
Because you now have the skill set to back yourself, knowing, okay, I can forever make 10K a month, but how am I going to get to the next echelon? How am I going to get to 100K a month? How am I going to get to $1 million a month, right? And you got connected to a person who's already doing that through the model that I taught you. So not only did you add a model to your skill set, your pocket where you can make 10K a month, which is through
Mhm.
closing, but you got access to a founder, a CEO that was making $1 million a month in e-commerce. You partnered up with them and then run like how much did you guys do last or how much did you do last month in e-commerce?
Yeah, so last month, one of our brands hit, 30, it was around 33,000 last month. And to be honest with you, that was a
30,
slow
you
month.
said 30,000.
Yeah, 33,000 to be exact. And that was a slow month. Very, very slow month. So
Well, it's a slow month. That means you right now you're on a run rate to do about $300,000 a year.
yeah, correct. Yeah, 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 exactly.
Yeah, slow month. For some people, that might be a lot, though. I just want to mention.
Slow, slow month, definitely.
Yeah, 99% of people don't even see $10,000 in their bank account. So that's a huge accomplishment. And for you to do that, how did obviously you went through being a closer, but how did your experience with us and Innovate propel that original model that you wanted to try? How did sales help you excel better in drop shipping? Like, and to be honest, not really drop shipping, as an entrepreneur as a whole.
Yeah, it's for me personally, it was the work rate that these guys really installed in our data sets, right? It was the work rate. It was actually taking that chance, when it's actually given to you. Because at the end of the day, opportunities are there for you every single day, and most people are scared of taking those opportunities. Um, so for Innovative, really, it was the work rate. We were there 18 hours a day, and it was really just them, urging me, come on, you've got this. I'm gonna teach you a skill set, and that's essentially, what made me leave my job. I was like, do you know what? I trust these guys. I didn't even really know you guys for real, but I trusted you. I trusted what you said. And it was really them, installing that into my data sets. It's like, you got to believe in yourself. You really got to, and at the end of the day, it's a business, right? Although you're a closer, it's still a business. I had spreadsheets of my my pipeline. I was clocking hours. You have to treat it like a real business. There's no such thing as, you're gonna go into something and make 10K a month if you're not doing it properly. Because there's people like me, there's people like AJ, there's people like Addy that are gonna lap you because we will do these things, right? I was hitting up my pipeline every single day. I would make $1,000 in one day just from my pipeline, not even a live call, just from my pipeline. Because at the end of the day, we were doing it properly, and I learned from these guys. You really have to do this to the best of your ability if you want to get to that, top 1% status.
Yeah, agreed. When people get into entrepreneurship, they get this overpromised idea or paradigm in their mind, like, okay, I deserve 10K a month. No, this is just like anything else where you have to go and actually put in the work. I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs, they'll say it's easy to get to 10K a month, but you didn't see the steps they took to become a person to get to 10K a month. It sounds cliche, but it's the truth. People will bullshit you and say, "Oh, it was easy," and that's why I'm gonna do this interview with you raw. I didn't act. I like. Am I lying about anything? Are you lying about anything?
Absolutely not.
No, no,
Absolutely not.
this is the truth. This is real and this is authentic. And like that's hard to come by nowadays. That's why I feel like a lot of people get inspiration from you is because you're a serial entrepreneur now. I mean, like 33K
Yeah.
with obviously your e-commerce business and then being able to stack a skill set of being able to make 10K a month whenever you feel like it. Whether if you decided you can go out be a full time, and to be honest, that's just like that's the like the minimum. You could probably go out and make 20, like 40K a month. Because like
Oh,
the
100%.
one thing I also want to also ask you is this as well. The reason you're capped at 10K a month, was it on you or was it on the business that kept you at 10K a month? Let me ask Len, this is a good.
Nah, so the the reason I believe I was capped was because of me myself. Um, and that's because, I was closing at like a maybe 60% rate, but if my skill set, and it was getting better every single day, right? Because we were
Yeah.
working every single day. But as a new closer, 10K a month was crazy. And to be honest, I'm gonna be brutally honest, this is a raw interview. When you go from 0 to 10K a month, you get comfortable. You definitely do get comfortable, right? You go from nothing to 10K a month, and it's like, oh, do you know what? I won't work 18 hours a day now. I only work 6. And then it's like, okay, then you see the numbers start to go down. Okay, I only made 5K this month. And it's like, it really was on me because when you see that kind of money in such a short amount of time, it is a big shock, right? It is a huge, huge shock that a lot of people won't actually see because they don't actually bet on themselves and won't do the work, right? But to see, that kind of money, I got a bit comfortable. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. And yeah, that's kind of why I was capped at 10K a month because I know people within the closing space that are making, upwards of 50,000 a month, right? So seeing them do it and me not being able to do it, it's obviously me. It's obviously me.
It's insane. Now, like obviously you're having self accountability right now. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I like that about you. That's why I hired you. I hired you in the first place. Complete self accountability. But let's say you were to fix that complacency. You didn't replace it, and then on top of that, let's say I placed you in a company that was 10x. Instead of doing like, all right, instead of doing $250,000 a month, let's say they're doing $1 million a month, then how much would you be making? So like what I want to touch into here is that with this skill set, you're not capped at how much money you can make a month.
Never, never,
You
never,
could take
never.
that, you could take that same skill set that you made 10K, right? And you can go out and I can place you in a company that's doing $10 million a month, and you can go out and make $1 million in commissions.
100%.
A
Yeah,
half
so
a
it
million, $500,000 in a month.
exactly it never gets capped really because at the end of the day,
No,
I was selling like products that were worth maybe $2,000, $1,000, and I know there's products
yeah,
and services out there that sell for 50,000, 100,000. So
yeah, and like yeah, obviously this company was a startup as well. Imagine if you got access to a full-time company that's been in the game for a decade that was doing like $10 million a month. That would be huge. You wouldn't
yeah,
have these 10K payouts. You'd have $100,000 payouts, right?
yeah, yeah,
And
$100%.
that's the thing that I preach a lot and what I talk about is like it's really once you learn this skill set, you can make an infinite amount of money
Hmm.
in entrepreneurship, by the way. Like not just obviously, yes, this model works and like the info space was really, really good to you because they were a connection to me and I put you on a good offer, right? But you can go out and sell $100,000 services, 25K services that are out there. And instead of
Yeah,
taking $200 a call, I'm taking 2.5K a call, right?
exactly.
So with the model, you're just not capped like a lot of things are. Like, well, let's say with drop shipping or with trading, right? You're
Yeah.
going to be capped at a certain point, right?
Because
So
at the end of the day, with drop shipping, to make 10K a month, right, you're gonna have to have a certain amount of cash flow, right? First of all, you need a certain amount of cash flow, you need a certain amount of skill set. The drop shipping scene, there's a lot of sharks in there, right? There's a lot of sharks in there. There's a lot of people that work at this every single day, 18, 20 hours a day, right? So to get to that point where you can go make 10K a month, you're gonna have to be doing it for years on end. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's even taken me a point right now. It's been a year since I first joined. First did high ticket sales, so it has been a year and a half of me doing e-commerce, and I'm only just starting to see the real potential of drop shipping with sales. I could take that same skill set, and get on a different offer, and instead of making 10K a month, I'll be making 100K a month. And that's really what changes the game about high ticket sales because all you need is
ridiculous.
that skill set, and you're never capped, never ever.
Ridiculous. I mean, for you to be like obviously, like you said, a year into e-commerce and being at 33K a month, if I placed you on a better company, better offer, you can go make that exact same amount of money. That exact
Exactly.
same amount of money that took you a year to accumulate, I can place you in a company and make that same money. So, no, definitely you have a very interesting story as well. I wanna kind of I don't want people to be here too long, so I'll cut it a little bit short. So they can go start making money, start applying themselves, actually do some shit instead of consuming. But
Exactly,
I want to talk
exactly.
about obviously like the future and the outlook for you, and then I want to talk about like innovate and if you would recommend innovate to anybody. But like, what's the outlook for you now as a serial entrepreneur, not just a closer because you transitioned from a newbie dropshipper to a closer making 10K a month in 30 days. And then a couple months in, you transitioned back into the e-commerce space with that skill set, partnered up with
Mhm.
someone worth multiple eight figures at a very, very young age. I know exactly, well, I do know exactly he's our client, right? And then a couple months later, being able to hit 33K in drop shipping. Um,
Mhm.
what's the outlook for you? And to be honest, what are the goals for you now?
Yeah, so for me personally, right, I think the goal for me is me and my partner right now, we're looking at building, something that's gonna generate over 100 to 200 million, within the next couple years, right? That's the kind of end goal for us right now. So we're building multiple e-commerce brands. And it's not drop shipping anymore, right? It's not drop shipping. We're building real life brands, 3PLs, getting the MOQs, trademarking. This is proper e-commerce, what that you see on Amazon and all these big retailing sites, right? So that's kind of the outlook for me now, and I know I had this conversation with you before because it's just coming up to Q4, right? And before Q4, we're gonna need a lot of ammo for Q4. So I did come back to AJ and I was like, yo, I do need even more cash flow now to pump into Q4.
Yeah.
Who's better to come back to than you guys? So I know we're gonna have that conversation after about an offer.
Yeah. And that's just like that's in that's so that's so interesting to me, and also like powerful as well, because like you now have an ability to always make money, which a lot of entrepreneurs, they face this dilemma of, oh, I gotta sign my next client. Oh, I gotta pay for fucking rent. I gotta buy out this lamb. I spent this much money on the lamb and I gotta pay for it somehow. And with you, you're coming off a 33K month, right? You're already successful in entrepreneur and you're gonna kill it. When they see this interview in like 5 years, I'm gonna definitely come back for my
100%.
my redone testimonial.
Even a year's time, I
Yeah,
remember. I
after
remember
five
that one
years.
time. There
Yeah.
was
Um,
like a week into high ticket sales, I had failed my driving test. I'd failed my driving test, and I'd made like $1,000 in those past few days. And I remember you're like, we're gonna look back to this in a year's time,
yeah,
and it's crazy how far we have come. 100%.
yeah. And like to touch up on that, like again, on what I was saying was that you're coming back to me through a connection with this skill set that you have, knowing that you can generate cash flow. You know you can 100% make money. That's a certainty that like a lot of entrepreneurs can't say. They don't know where their next client's coming from, more than likely. They probably don't know how to run ads. They don't post any content. They don't do anything with social media at all. They're not really knowledgeable about how to make money because they think that if they hop into drop shipping with zero skill set, they're coming right out of college, right out of the gates. They're going to be a millionaire, right? Which is just not the case. That's just an overpromised dream that everyone thinks of for some reason. You're still coming back to me with that same skill set to further your business that you're also starting, right?
Exactly.
Because you because
Exactly.
because you know the place to go for guaranteed cash flow is to come back into that role, an entrepreneurship where money is 100% guaranteed to go into your pocket, right? You're gonna take that and then scale your brand,
Exactly.
which is insane to me because I can't wholeheartedly say, all right, I'm gonna go generate money with dropshipping, guaranteed, 100%. I'm gonna go into
Never.
trading, 100%. I know I'm going to make money. Copywriting, whatever, what else was out there? Agency model, wholesale,
Yeah.
Amazon. That you went through
Amazon.
all these models that people are pushing, right? The one place that you know you're gonna pretty much go and guarantee cash flow for yourself, guarantee money going to your bank. It's not a fucking model. It's a skill set that you have,
Still.
and then applying it to other companies that already have money. Right.
Exactly.
Which is the
Exactly.
exact same statement that billionaires like Ty Lopez, Andrew Tate, Mark Cuban, Andy Frisella, they've all said this on podcasts. It's like the number one skill set they would fall back onto if they lost everything. Like if your e-commerce brand went to shit, you could still fall back on this skill set of sales, wholeheartedly knowing you can make it all back.
Always, because at the end of the day, it's not a business model. It's a skill set. As we said 1,000 times,
Right.
all I'm gonna do is go on a call like we are now and convince someone for 45 minutes that this service is gonna change their life. Which 9 times out of 10 it is going to, because I know you guys don't go around with people that don't sell real things. So you got to also believe in what you sell. 100%.
Yeah. That's a we have a funny story about that, but that's for
That's for another time, most definitely.
that's for another time. But no, I think there's some good insights into obviously your story on like why I preach like skill sets and entrepreneurship and like how you made so much money in closing, taking that same skill set, going into another model that does work, by the way, still. I'll tell
And
every
always will. Always will.
yeah, and then also like the companies that I am now partnered up with, they would pay tens of thousands of dollars to get access to you. A person
Hmm.
that is reliable, that is world class, knows how to generate money, is really, really good at sales, that'll show up every single day, that can make a company like $500,000. That's irreplaceable. People are trying to find that every single day at the highest level. So,
Yeah,
um,
100%.
I mean, I talk about those in my videos, and I'm pushing a lot of stuff for that later. But let's close it off here. I think everyone got a lot of good insight into you, Jordan. I appreciate you for hopping on here.
No,
If you
most definitely. Thank you. Thank you for having me, brother.
yeah, if you could leave everyone with just one piece of advice that you've taken over the past 12 months, a year, throughout everything, what would you say to like the people about like entrepreneurship, innovates, if they want to start making money online, if they want to be in the rooms where businesses are doing that kind of amount of money, what would you tell them? And to be honest, your old self like a year ago.
Yeah, if one piece of advice is do sales. That's all I've got to say is do sales, guys, because at the end of the day, um, this is a skill set that you're gonna have for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
You're gonna have this for the rest of your life, and you're always gonna be able to go out, have that freedom. And if I knew sales when I was 15 instead of 18, I would have done it. I promise you, I would have done it. I wouldn't have done these other business models. I would have done sales, and I would have been a lot further than I am today. But everything happens in good timing. But my one piece of advice is go into sales and believe in yourself. You really have to believe in yourself. That's one big thing that I do, carry. Is you really do have to believe that you can actually even do it. Because if you come into something like this and you think that you're gonna fail, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have that first sales call, right? You're gonna have that first sales call. You've never done one before, and you have to believe that you can actually close this. And that's what I did. My first call, I went in there and I was like, "Do you know what? I'm gonna close this guy." And I closed him, made my first $200 within the first 48 hours, and that's one big advice within entrepreneurship. You gotta believe.
okay. Appreciate that for sure. Um, Yeah, no, we'll leave it off at that. Now, for everyone that's watching or made it to the end of the video, I'm gonna leave a link in the description for you guys to, if you want to recreate Jordan's success and to be connected with companies, whether you tried other business models before, if you're a complete beginner and you want to start making money online, and you want to recreate Jordan's success on going from absolutely zero, quitting a 9 to 5, failing at dropshipping, you go in 10K in a 48-hour turnover time in 30 days. I'll leave a link for you to book in a call with some members of my team, and you could have a conversation, get some clarity on how exactly we helped Jordan pretty much create his success. Now, also, if you're a founder watching this and you're doing like 100K a month, I'd love to partner up with you with my new company, Innovate. The goal with my company is obviously to partner up with the best founders and CEOs on the internet right now and be able to place and implement world-class talent to help you scale your business from like the 6 figures that you're probably at right now, past and reach to echelon if you can make like $1 million a month. I want to be the person you can go to find high caliber talent like Jordan, who can go out and in a couple months generate you $500,000. Someone you can completely rely on. So if that's also you, I'll leave a link for you because I want to work with the best CEOs, the best founders on the planet. All right. So I appreciate you, Jordan, for hopping on here. And no, I'm
Thank you.
excited to see your brand grow. I'm looking for that 7 to 8 figure entrepreneur here soon. We're gonna recreate this interview for sure,
100%.
blow up, even though you already have. So no, for everyone that's watching, I'll see you guys on the next one.